Admiral Zexathara watched the blue marble called Earth grow larger on her flagship's view screen, her four arms crossed in satisfaction. Behind her, the combined armada of the hegemony stretched across space like a metallic constellation. 12,000 warships from 7 different species, all united in their singular purpose: the complete subjugation of humanity. "Status report," she commanded, her translator converting her chittering language into the common galactic tongue. "All fleets in position, Admiral," replied her tactical officer, a towering Krillian whose crystalline exoskeleton reflected the bridge's crimson lighting. "The humans' primitive defense grid is already failing. Their orbital stations are retreating to the far side of their moon." Zexathara's mandibles clicked in amusement. 3 standard cycles ago, when humanity had first stumbled into galactic civilization, they had been dismissed as another primitive species barely worthy of notice. Their crude chemical rockets and nuclear weapons seemed laughably outdated compared to the hegemony's plasma cannons and faster-than-light dreadnoughts. But then the humans had done something unprecedented. They had refused to submit. Every other species encountered by the hegemony had either joined willingly or been conquered within months. The humans, however, had withdrawn from galactic space entirely, retreating to their home system like wounded animals. For 3 years, they had remained silent, ignoring all diplomatic overtures and trade agreements. The Hegemony Council had finally decided that Earth needed to be reminded of its place in the galactic order. "Begin the assault," Zexathara ordered. The first wave of hegemony ships descended toward Earth's atmosphere, their shields shimmering, as they deflected the pathetic resistance offered by humanity's orbital defense platforms. Plasma beams lanced through space, reducing human satellites to glowing debris. It would be over within the hour. Then something impossible happened. "Admiral!" The tactical officer's voice cracked with disbelief. "New contacts! Massive signatures! Emerging from everywhere!" The view screen erupted in chaos as sleek, angular vessels materialized from seemingly empty space. They emerged from behind asteroids, uncloaked from invisible positions, and dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. These weren't the crude human ships the hegemony intelligence had cataloged. These vessels were works of art, streamlined, hulls that seemed to bend light around them, weapons that hummed with barely contained energy. "How many?" Zexathara demanded, her confidence wavering. "Still counting, Admiral. At least 15,000 vessels. No, wait, 20,000. The readings keep climbing." Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the enemy fleet scatter in confusion as humanity's true navy revealed itself. For 3 years, while the galaxy believed Earth had gone silent, humanity had been working. Not just building ships, but revolutionizing everything they thought they knew about space warfare. "All ships, this is Admiral Marcus Kane aboard the Valkyrie," came the voice over the fleet-wide channel. "Execute Operation Prometheus." Sarah smiled grimly. Prometheus, the titan who stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity. How fitting. The human fleet moved like a school of predatory fish, each ship in perfect synchronization with its neighbors. While the hegemony ships relied on brute force and overwhelming firepower, the human vessels danced through space with impossible grace. Their weapons weren't just more powerful, they were smarter. Missiles that could think, energy beams that adapted to enemy shields, projectiles that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "How?" Admiral Zexathara whispered. as she watched her seemingly invincible armada begin to crumble. A human destroyer, no larger than a hegemony frigate, had just disabled 3 of her heavy cruisers with some kind of weapon that turned their own shields against them. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the human fleet," her communications officer reported. "Put it through." The image that appeared on the main screen was of a grizzled human male in a crisp naval uniform. His eyes held the cold confidence of someone who had planned for this moment for years. "I am Admiral Marcus Kane of the United Earth Space Navy," the human said. "You came here expecting to find a primitive species cowering in fear. Instead, you found something else entirely. For 3 years you've wondered why humanity withdrew from galactic society. Now you know. We were preparing." Zexthera found her voice. "This is impossible. Your technology was centuries behind ours." Kane's smile was sharp as a blade. "You're thinking like every other species in the galaxy. Linearly, incrementally. You improve your weapons by 5% and call it progress. Humans don't think that way. When we're threatened, we don't just adapt, we transcend. While you were content with your superiority, we were reimagining the very nature of space combat." Around them, the battle continued to rage, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. The hegemony fleet, despite its numerical advantage at the start, was being systematically dismantled by an enemy that fought unlike anything they had ever encountered. "You see," Kane continued, "you made one crucial mistake. You assumed that because we were newer to the galactic stage, we were inferior. You never considered that being new might be an advantage. We didn't have centuries of preconceptions about how space warfare should work. We had fresh eyes and desperate motivation. A massive hegemony battleship exploded in the distance, its shields overwhelmed by a coordinated assault from a squadron of human fighters that moved like they shared a single mind. "Surrender now," Kane said, "and we'll escort your surviving ships to the edge of our system. Refuse, and learn why humanity earned the right to stand alone among the stars." Zexthera looked around her bridge, seeing fear in the eyes of officers who had never known defeat. Her tactical display showed the truth. More than half her fleet was already destroyed or disabled, and the humans showed no signs of slowing down. "Signal the fleet," she said quietly. "Full retreat." As the remnants of the hegemony armada limped away from Earth, Admiral Kane stood alone on his bridge, watching the stars. The galaxy would never again make the mistake of underestimating humanity. They had come expecting to conquer primitives and instead had encountered something far more dangerous, a species that turned adversity into evolution and isolation into innovation. Humanity had chosen to stand apart from the galactic community not out of fear, but out of wisdom. They knew that to survive among the stars, they couldn't simply join the existing order. They had to transcend it. The secret fleet had done more than win a battle. It had announced humanity's true arrival on the galactic stage.